and welcome back. I'm Josie Pester, reporting 3 hours from when this is posted in the infamous Kumquat TV headquarters, aka a teenager's bedroom. Today, my guest on the show is going to be my great friend, No One, because it's quarantine and we're alone. But today's video is something new. I'm going to be doing a top 10. That's right, it's different from anything I've ever done before. I'm gonna be doing a ranking. It's great, it's different, it's fun, it's new, and this is a cone. Also, I thought I'd spice up my drink variety today with some, kombucha. Yeah, we were out of tea. I miss my tea. Now, if you don't know what a top 10 is, basically, I will be listing shows 10 to 1. So that isn't necessarily to say worst to best. All the shows on this list are going to be great, top of the charts, at least in my books, and in the public's books, and of the professional TV ranking books. Okay, they're on top of all the books. Anyway, but number 1 will be the best of the best. So what exactly am I ranking? Sitcoms. That's right, what are the top 10 best sitcoms in modern day? I'm gonna tell you. But real quick before that, remember to like, subscribe, comment, and obviously I gotta tell you what exactly a sitcom is first. A sitcom, clipping for situational comedy, is a genre of comedy centered on a fixed set of characters who carry over from episode to episode. Sitcoms can be contrasted with sketch comedy, where a troupe may use new characters in each sketch, and stand-up comedy, where comedians tell jokes and stories to an audience. Alright. And I will be reading off Google summaries, because Google gives an accurate perspective on the objective analysis and quality of the... Yeah, no, I'm just lazy. So kicking it off at number 10, How I Met Your Mother. Ted has fallen in love. It all started when his best friend, Marshall, drops the bombshell that he plans to propose to longtime girlfriend Lily, a kindergarten teacher. Suddenly, Ted realizes that he had better get a move on if he hopes to find true love. Helping him in the quest is Barney, a friend with endless, often outrageous opinions, a penchant for suits, and a foolproof way to meet women. When Ted meets Robin, he is sure it's love at first sight, but the affair fizzles into friendship. Voiceover by Bob Saget, Full House, tells the story through flashbacks. Damn, that's not a great summary. Basically, it's just a guy named Ted Mosby retelling the story of how he met his wife to his kids in vivid detail. It's that simple, but that awesome. And this is actually my all-time favorite show. Any genre, any time, any place, it's my favorite. I've watched it 8 times, all 9 seasons, down the hatch. And it's only getting the number 10 slot because I'm trying to be objective with this list, but it deserves recognition for sure. Number 9, Superstore. An oddball family of employees at supersized megastore Cloud9 tackles the day-to-day grind of rabid bargain hunters, riot-causing sales, and nap-worthy training sessions. Stalwart employee Amy is just trying to hold it all together despite the best efforts of her daftly clueless manager Glenn and his iron-fisted assistant Dina. Rounding out the crew is new hire Jonah, a dreamy dreamer, sardonic Garrett, an ambitious Mateo, and a sweet young mother-to-be Cheyenne. From bright-eyed newbies to see-it-all veterans, bumbling seasonal hires, and in-it-for-life managers, they're all going to get through another day together. Okay, not bad. This show is great. There are a few dull moments, I'm not gonna lie, but overall, it's another crazy series with crazy characters and hilarious scenes. What we know and love in a sitcom. Numero 8. Ocho, that's the word I'm looking for. Parks and Recreation. Leslie Nope, a mid-level bureaucrat in an Indiana Parks and Recreation department, hopes to beautify her town and boost her own career by helping local nurse Ann Perkins turn an abandoned construction site into a community park. But what should be a fairly simple project is stymied at every turn by oafish bureaucrats, selfish neighbors, governmental red tape, and a myriad of other challenges. Leslie's colleague Tom Haverford, who delights in exploiting his position for personal gain, is as likely to undermine her efforts as help her, while her boss, Ron Swanson, is adamantly opposed to government in any form, even though he's a bureaucrat himself. Damn, Google gotta step up its game. It's really just about a boring local government system in Indiana and the people in it, the variety of characters and personalities that try to get stuff done together while facing hilarious challenges. It's very similar to The Office in a lot of ways, as it was created by Michael Schur, and so if you're a fan of The Office and somehow you haven't heard or seen Parks and Rec, check it out for sure. Number 7, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Detective Jake Peralta, a talented and carefree cop with the best arrest record, has never had to follow the rules too closely or work very hard. That changes when Raymond Holt, a man with a lot to prove, becomes the new commanding officer at Brooklyn's 99th precinct. As Holt reminds Peralta to respect the badge, an extremely competitive colleague, Detective Amy Santiago, starts to close in on the hotshot cop's arrest record. Other members of the precinct include Sergeant Terry Jeffords, a devoted family man, Detective Charles Boyles, a hard worker who idolizes Jake, and Rosa Diaz, a sexy yet intimidating detective. Civilian Officer Manager Gina Linetti is tasked with cleaning up everyone's mess, while somehow getting involved in everyone's business. Now that summary is pretty good, but it mainly focuses on the characters. Now granted, the characters are great, but there is so much more to this show. The plot, the general development and flow of the show are really the highlight. Number 6, New Girl.
Hey girl, what you doing? Hey girl, where you going? Who's that girl? Who's that girl? It's Jess.
After going through a rough breakup, awkward and upbeat Jess, Zooey Deschanel, moves in with 3 single guys. Intelligent and witty Nick is an underachiever who took the bartender off-ramp on his road to success. Schmidt obsesses over his social standing and looks at Jess as a personal project. Winston is a competitive former athlete who, after realizing he will never become a pro, moves into the loft. Together with Jess's best friend, Cece, they bond to form an unlikely and dysfunctional family. Again with the character summaries. Yeah, the characters are pretty good, but I would say they're not the highlight of this show. Rather, it's the way they all come together and get thrown into hilarious situations, which is what makes this show such a showstopper. Number 5, The Office and American Workplace. This U.S. adaptation, set at a paper company in Scranton, Pennsylvania, has a similar documentary style to that of Ricky Gervais-led British original. It features the staff of Dunder Mifflin, a staff that includes characters based on characters from the British show, and quite possibly people you work with in your office. There's Jim, the likable employee who's a bit of an everyman. Jim has a thing for receptionist turned sales rep Pam, because office romances are always a good idea. There's also Dwight, the successful coworker who lacks social skills and common sense. And there's Ryan, who has held many jobs at the company. Jesus with this character stuff. That didn't even cover all the characters either. You know what? Whatever. It's a good show, okay? And I already did a review of this show on my channel, previous video, so go to my channel page, check the video out if you want a real summary of what this show is about, an overview, generalization, and just everything in one. Go to my channel, watch the video. Definitely a show that's worthwhile. Coming in at the number 4 position is actually going to be 2 shows today. One's kind of a sequel of the other. It's Blackish and then Grownish. Dre Johnson has it all. A great job, beautiful wife Rainbow, 4 kids, and a big home in a classy neighborhood. But as a black man, he begins to question whether all his success has brought too much cultural assimilation for his family. With the help of his father, Dre begins to create a sense of ethnic identity for the members of his family that will allow them to honor their background while preparing them to embrace the future. That's kind of only the plot or summary of the very beginning of the show. That's what's happening at the beginning. It grows a lot from start to finish, but yeah, that was pretty accurate. Now for Grownish. The Johnson family's eldest daughter is taking her first steps into the real world as she heads off to college. Grownish explores the first trappings of adulthood, and Zoe must navigate through the trials and tribulations of these momentous steps. Zoe discovers that once she leaves the nest, things do not always go her way. The series features that in-between place where you're not quite an adult but facing grown-world problems for the first time, Kenya Barris, the show's creator and executive producer, said. Yup, that's also not bad. The thing about these 2 sitcoms is that they're a bit more serious than the other shows that I've listed previously in this video. They cover a little bit more serious topics, especially big race themes, but they're both just as good as each other, clearly as I've rated them both in the number 4 slot. Third best show out there, The Good Place. When Eleanor Shellstrop finds herself in the afterlife, she's both relieved and surprised that she made it into the good place. But it doesn't take long for Eleanor to realize that she's there by mistake. She hides in plain sight from the good place's architect, Michael, and his all-knowing assistant, Janet. Her seemingly perfect neighbors, Tahani and Jason, and open-hearted soulmate, Chidi, help her realize that it's never too late to change. With the help of her new friends, and a few new enemies, Eleanor becomes determined to shed her old way of life in hopes of discovering a new one in the afterlife. Alright, now we're cooking. Not bad, not bad. Everyone who loves sitcoms, everyone who loves sitcoms should love this show. There are great characters, but admittedly at times some immature humor, but you know what, that never killed anyone. And it's just really great acting and overall just a really great show, hence coming in the number 3 position. Coming in the second position, before I should explain that I actually couldn't decide between the number 1 slot and the number 2 slot. The 2 shows that I'm gonna be listing next, they were both virtually equal, and I just couldn't decide between them. So one will be in the number 1 slot, one will be in the number 2 slot, but I just couldn't decide. They're both virtually equal shows. They're both fantastic. So I'm gonna get right into it then. And before I announce the second and first position, here are some honorable mentions that didn't quite make it onto the list, but deserve recognition nonetheless. Firstly, Friends. I've already done a video on this one too, and I rated it a 3.7 out of 5, but it's a classic, and it definitely deserves recognition as a timeless, easy-to-watch, humorous series. And nextly, Community. This wacky show centers around a group of people who begin a study group that eventually becomes way more than just studying. With a bond of friendship between them, they go on all kinds of adventures together. And I wanted to keep this brief, this honorable mention section brief, but there is one notable thing about the show that I thought I should mention, and that's its blatant use of other sitcom shows and movies to kind of fuel its frame. You could call it cheap copying, but really, it's done on purpose, almost as if obviously taking away the structure of other sitcoms and using it to the show's advantage. Yeah, so just very blatantly and out in the open, taking components from shows and movies, but being very, very clever about it, so that it comes off not quite as a copycat move, but whatever your view on it is, I thought it definitely deserved to be recognized. Now for the second and first positions. Coming in second place is the unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Yes, I have already done a review on this one too, and I'm glad that I did because it is grape. No? You didn't like that one? They're my harshest critics. And finally, the moment you have all been waiting for. Let's get a drum roll. Where's the... One day at a time. Woo! Again, I've already covered this one, and rightfully so. Now, you may be wondering why I didn't give summaries for these last two shows. It's not because they're not great. Obviously, they're great. Well, it's because I've already done full summarizations, reviews, ratings, deep dives into both of these shows previously on my channel. These two shows deserve a lot of attention. And looking at. So I encourage you, if you are interested in finding out why I put these as the best of the best, go to my channel and you'll find out why. Watch my videos, hopefully binge watch both shows, and again, hopefully become a diehard fan. In fact, scroll through the list of videos on my channel to find out more about any of the shows that I just listed. I haven't done reviews or ratings on all of them, but if there was one in particular that sounded really interesting to you that I have not done yet, put it in the comments of this video and I will make it happen. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment in that little comment section, and as the old saying goes, bye. Oh, and also, I don't own the lyrics to any of the theme songs. Yeah, you can continue with your credits now. Go ahead.